Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Bottom Line on Sports, our little show about the intersection between sports and money. He's Jeremy Pink. I'm Jean Jacques Taylor, and he's got a number for you. First, though, don't forget to
Aha.
subscribe, rate, review, 5 stars only. We could use your help. Now, my friend, what number do you have for us this week?
In pure Austin Powers, my number is $1 billion in pure Austin Powers world. And you
Damn,
know
that's
what?
a whole lot.
$1 billion, that is the increase in the market capitalization of MSG stock from at the close of the market on April 17th until the close of the market today, which is Wednesday night. We're taping about an hour before the Knicks and Spurs play game one. MSG is the parent company of the New York Knicks, and their stock has gone up since when they started the playoffs from $336 a share to almost $381 a share. That in,
That,
that represents $1 billion in market cap just over
dude,
that playoff run.
that's what a 12 game winning streak will do for you. Now, I'm curious because for whatever reason, I never thought about it being public. Why do you invest? Who invests in Madison Square Garden? Is that like a good investment, like Apple or Nike or whatever?
It's a very different type of company, but MSG owns, the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yes, I've
They
heard about that.
own they own, diverse entertainment type and sports properties and everything. But I think their marquee property, and they own MSG, their marquee property is the Knicks. And I think the market has gone up since April 17th. So the MSG stock is up, I think 13.3% over that time period from April 17th until the
Right?
market closed today, Wednesday night. And the S&P 500 is only up about 6%.
Jeez.
So MSG stock has more than double the performance of the S&P 500 since the Knicks started their playoff run.
Now, what does this really mean? Does that just mean people are so excited about the Knicks they're just like, I got to get me some MSG stock?
I think it's probably coincidence. That's certainly part of it. But B, I do think that the value of the Knicks franchise, which is
Right?
going to be reflected in the market cap, probably has increased since the Knicks had this run.
Now,
So
here's
I think that's probably part of it. Also, MSG earnings have been pretty strong too over the time period as well.
now the other question is, does this make James Dolan any more likable?
What do you think about that? Because I'll tell you, James Dolan was a guy who pushed Tom Thibodeau out because he thought they needed a new coach. Now,
Right?
granted, I think Mike Brown was maybe the 18th choice, but he still hired Mike Brown. So what do you think about that? I think there isn't I don't think there's the visceral hatred toward Dolan today that there was maybe 2 years ago.
Okay. Now here's another question. Like at the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, highly visible owner, polarizing owner. Camera pans to him quite often because they know exactly where he sits. He sits on the opposite side of the Cowboys bench in a little booth right above a clock. So you can find him right over there. Does James Dolan have a spot, and does the camera ever pan to him? Because I haven't watched enough Knicks games to pay any attention.
Yeah, he's not sort of the high profile type owner. Plus, you know, not that I'm anything to look at, but boy, you don't want to look at James Dolan. You just don't. But he's not very well liked here, but you have to hand it to the guy. The Sphere was a great idea, and they've implemented that very well. MSG earnings are doing well, and the Knicks are doing well. You have to give it to, under Dolan's ownership, the Knicks have been pretty good the last couple of years.
Well, nothing wrong with that. That, my friend, is a great number, and that leads us to a good segue into what's the economic impact when the Knicks are doing what they're doing all over? And is it just Manhattan or is it all the boroughs?
Well, I was looking at the economic impact in New York City, and according to some estimates, let's assume the Knicks play all three of their home game. It's like a 7 game series, and the Knicks play their home games here. I mean, the city projects economic activity could reach $460 million, so $500 million in economic activity. Um, with each home game, according to the numbers that I read, uh, accounting for nearly $90 million in spending on tickets, concessions, transportation, and lodging and stuff. So it's a
Well,
pretty
see,
big economic impact here.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all, though, man. Not the way one New York, especially I guess the city being a big basketball town, the love for the Knicks rivaling the love for the Yankees. Although let me ask you a very quick exit rant. If people had to vote, uh, do the Yankees outrank the Knicks or the Knicks outrank the Yankees?
Oh, today the Knicks outrank the Yankees, no question
But I
about it.
mean in general, because everybody's riding an
Yeah,
emotional crest
it's a
right
good
now.
it's a good question. I would say that the New York City at its heart is a basketball city. Um,
Right.
and I would say that for many years, though, the Yankees were the number one. It's probably today, just because of where the Knicks are today.
Yeah.
Knicks are probably at the top, but I would say it's a very good question. I would say it's almost one and one A, but if somebody held a gun to my head, I would probably say over the last 25 years, it's going to be the Yankees
Well, I
over
was gonna say
over the
it's
Knicks.
probably been the Yankees over the last 25 years because the Knicks haven't been good enough. And
Yeah,
now, but if the Knicks and the Yankees are both equally championship
yeah.
contenders, I would say, given that it's a basketball city, it'll flow back
Yeah,
to the Knicks.
I think that's exactly right. I think that's
Uh,
exactly right. I was living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan
oh,
during, yeah, I know, during the Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston 1999 finals run.
wow,
And
were you now?
it was, that was insane. And the Knicks were huge because I lived in New York, you
Right?
know, well, I've lived in New York for, I've been in and out of New York or the New York City area for many years. And when the Knicks are good, it's totally transformational. It transforms the town. I mean, that's how, when the Knicks are good and they're playing well, that's what everybody in town talks
Now,
about.
I was gonna say that's interesting. When you say transformational, what do you mean? Give me an example.
Yeah, I think you have so to give you an idea, you'll be shocked to hear it. I was at a wedding in New York, in Manhattan this weekend. And I was actually at a wedding on Saturday night. I was at a dinner on Saturday night while Game 7 of the Spurs OKC game was happening.
You're a good man.
However, I'm not that good of a man because I took my phone and I actually put it on the table and I watched the Spurs OKC game. And this was a wedding where you wouldn't think anybody there would particularly care that much about the Knicks. It wasn't sort of your traditional New York City crowd that was there.
Right?
Every single person was wandering over to the table to take a look at the score. And they were looking at the score not so much because they were interested in whether, not so much they had a rooting interest in this, although a lot of people wanted the Spurs to win. They just wanted to see who the Knicks were going to play.
Yeah.
And even to the point where waiters kept coming over to me and saying, and I drink almost nothing, I mean, drink almost no alcohol. And the waiters kept saying, "You want some more wine?" And I said, "No, no, I don't want any wine." But they just kept coming because they're so interested in what's happening. And even now there's like a huge number of watch parties there. The sports bars are going, insane there. The city allowed watch parties to happen outside of Madison Square Garden. They just announced that I think today or the last couple of days. So there's a huge amount of interest in what happens there, and it's a galvanizing. What's great about it, and what's great about sports in general is they can often create a galvanizing force in a time when the country's very divided, as we all know, or at least appears to be very divided.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I'm not surprised at all about the economic impact. Just because, you know, either you're trying to get to a game, or if you can't afford the $3,500 ticket to get in, you want to be in the atmosphere. So that means you're going to be in the city, at a bar, on the
Yeah,
streets. You're just gonna be around
yeah,
other like-minded Knicks fans, soaking in the atmosphere, which means you're gonna be at restaurants, buying drinks, buying dinner,
for sure.
hanging out, and all of that is good for waiters, waitresses, business owners, all of
What
that.
what about Dallas? I mean, what would things be like if the Mavericks, uh, not that that's going to happen anytime soon, but if the Mavericks were
Well,
going
I
to,
mean, we were in the finals 2 years
that's
ago,
true. So
and then we decided to trade Luka Doncic, and
right, right. It was a
now we're
good
back to
move.
being a
Yeah,
lottery team. In Dallas, it was the nature of Dallas and its size, and the fact that it has a mass transit system that nobody uses
Hmm.
because we all grew up driving our cars and we
Hmm.
need to get where we need to go on our schedule, not
Hmm.
anybody else's schedule. So the beauty of Dallas, however, and if you include the Fort Worth metropolitan area, and it's about 50 miles from downtown Dallas to downtown Fort Worth, with Arlington, Texas, where the Cowboys play, right smack dab in the middle. Dallas has got a zillion pockets, places where you could go and have a great time. And so, when you have a game or a situation like when the Mavericks were in the finals or when the Stars were playing for the Cup, people tend to go to those different pockets. Although, because they play at the American Airlines Center in downtown Dallas, you will have a group of people out there hanging out, and they'll show the game on the screen outside the thing. And there's actually a big bar, literally 100 feet from the arena, and so you'll have a bunch of
Wait,
people in
wait,
that.
is that the same place that you and I went to last year? It was kind
No,
of
we
like,
went to a place right up the street.
oh, I see.
I
Okay.
mean, literally, the place we went at Happiest Hour, I think is what they call it, was like half a mile from the arena.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
right.
right.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
you
because
get a
we had
lot
to
of people
walk.
there
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
And so Dallas does it like that. There's nothing like Midtown or Times Square.
Yeah.
There's no spot like that. But I mean, there's not many spots like that
Well,
in New York.
the population density is so great in New York that it's probably much more tangible feel than in Dallas.
Yeah, but they make up for it by it being so big that it's everywhere
Hmm.
you go and it's all consuming. And no, you definitely get a vibe, but it's nothing like what it is cranked up in New York City. And again, I think the point is the population density makes it like that. Like
Yeah.
it's literally
Yeah.
one spot, everybody's there. You can't. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be in the city one year. The Cowboys were playing the Giants, and for whatever reason, maybe Saturday night was Halloween, and I went down wherever all Halloween stuff is in the city, and I'm just like, I mean, it was, I mean, you couldn't really move side to side
Hmm.
because it's so
Hmm.
many people down. Now it was cool, it was a fun time, but that's just an example of how I can get in the city, and it would never be like that in Dallas because it's too much room and too many pockets.
But I would say it pales in comparison to Ohio State Michigan weekend in Columbus. It does. It does. There's nothing. That's
I haven't been there. I
yeah.
haven't been to one of those in so long. Uh, Maybe I need to go this year and just hang out in the city. Uh,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Ohio State's any good this year. But yeah, but that's for later in the show. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by the economic impact. What I think what I'm also going to look at is you have the World Cup happening, and you have the host one of the host cities is some of the games are like 15-minute drive for me. The final game is the final World Cup final is about 15-minute drive for me. I don't think you're going to see anything near that kind of economic impact, for the World Cup for a lot of these cities. Because I know there's a lot of games in Dallas too.
yeah. No, matter of fact, it's getting ready to get cranked up, obviously. And to be honest with you, not a lot of buzz around the city just yet.
It's
I
still
mean,
early.
from people, like you have
Yeah,
corporate people trying to
yeah,
generate buzz,
yeah.
but like I don't have people walking up to me talking about, hey, you got to hook up on some tickets. I can get some tickets. And I think most people have decided that, and it's interesting about the World Cup is I don't know, like I know some people that would pay $3,000 to go see the Longhorns play football, or maybe if the Mavericks were in the championship. I don't know a lot of people paying that much to see a World Cup soccer game. And so if they were really betting on people coming from other countries to watch the games and pay all that money because of their passion for the game, I think the way our government is set up right now, people are like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth going over there and taking a chance
Right.
that something goes wrong. And
That's
so we
yeah.
just gonna stay right here and watch it. Let's go. That money we're gonna spend. Let's spend those euros on a big ass TV and some surround sound and make sure that we're good because it's kind of unstable in the states right now if you're not an American citizen.
Yeah, yeah, it's FIFA also, it appears, and I haven't done a lot of, reading or looking into this, but it appears that FIFA is keeping ticket prices kind of, artificially high, or the ticket prices are much higher than they should be. There isn't like a real, doesn't appear, and again, I haven't looked into this enough, but it doesn't appear to be sort of the real secondary market for tickets like you see with the
Yeah.
Knicks, or I haven't seen the secondary market in the Spurs, but certainly the Knicks tickets, just to get in the door now is pushing 4 grand. It's crazy,
Which is
crazy.
insane.
Whereas the FIFA tickets have a certain face value or a certain price that seem to be artificially high, which I also think is kind of curbing demand there as
I
well.
think if you want to go check out a FIFA game, you should take the Jeremy Pink method, which is just go out to the stadium and hang out around for kickoff and wait for 10 minutes after the game starts. I mean, the game, if you're not a soccer fan, the games last
Yeah.
90 minutes. And the
No,
first 10 minutes, they're just going to kick the ball around to each other and try to see how each feel each other out. And then see if you can pick up a ticket at face value or below face value just because somebody wants to get rid of them at that point.
right. That's the idea with like regular season NBA games, particularly with like not so much the Knicks. That's too hard of a ticket, but like if you want to go to a regular season like Brooklyn Nets game, just take a subway out to Brooklyn, out to the Barclays Center, and if the game starts at 7, go on StubHub at 6:30, 6:40, and the
Right.
ticket prices start to plunge. You can buy them and you can get right in. That's
No, I
that's
think
your
I think that's a fine play. I got
that's
no
that's
problem
the
with that
secret.
play.
Yeah.
No, so I think the economic impact is going to be good. I think you're right about the World Cup, man. I'm really interested to see the numbers because Dallas has got like a pretty good draw, but again, I don't feel it around town, and I mean it's almost here, so it
Yeah,
seems
it's
like
we
if
got 2 more weeks. I think if we don't start to see a lot of the hype toward the end of next week, then I think it'll be that's going to be a problem.
yeah, and I don't know. It's interesting. I asked some people who are handling their companies handling a lot of the PR for the
Hmm.
world for the
Hmm.
FIFA in Dallas in the World Cup, and I'm gonna check in with them and see what the real buzz is.
Hmm.
Because I'm telling you, man, I don't feel it yet. Like now, I need to get out a little bit, like to see if it's all over the streets, signage and all this
Hmm.
stuff. So
Hmm.
a couple weeks ago, now I was in downtown Fort Worth hanging out for a weekend, and they had some huge soccer balls in their kind of downtown area. And so that was a sign like, okay, the World Cup is coming. There were like 20 of them. They had different countries and stuff.
Hmm.
And that
Hmm.
was kind of a cool little look. And
Hmm.
so that to me was an indication like, okay, the World Cup is coming. But that was it. There wasn't like a bunch of stuff around it or surrounding it. So you're right, man. It could. I mean, geez, that would be a disaster if they don't sell it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think they'll end up people will attend the games because I think they'll make the tickets affordable just to get a full crowd. And I think there's such a demand for this product. I think inherently, maybe not with a typical American, but with lots of people who, are if they're traveling to America or maybe, our first generation or, or weren't born here or,
yeah.
first generation. I think there's a lot of demand for the tickets. Did you know that my first job in TV sports was at CNN Sports way back when there used to be a CNN, big CNN Sports. They used to have a nightly show. And I had the job of watching all the World Cup games in 1986.
Did you?
And that was the year that Diego Maradona went wild. And that was the hand of God year for Diego Maradona.
I was gonna say I thought '86 was Maradona's year.
It is. It was.
Um,
It was. It was absolutely amazing. And there were about 6 people in the country who were watching the World Cup.
and you were one of them,
Yeah, I was one of because I don't think anybody else at CNN Sports wanted to watch the World Cup, and I was
right?
like, some 19-year-old intern or something there, and they
Right.
they said, "Can you do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll watch any game. It doesn't matter to me." And it turned
All
out to
right.
be turned out to be an amazing. I mean, that's really how I got introduced to soccer.
Wow. And then
Yeah,
look at you spending all that time in Europe, nothing but
yeah, that's
soccer
true.
around you.
That's true.
Speaking of that, did you have a team in Europe? Did you root for a team?
I lived around, not around. I lived very close to Chelsea, so that was our team.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb. I didn't take a trip over there just to go to some soccer games.
Yeah, I was there. You could have come anytime,
That's what I'm saying. It's
So,
kind of
yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity. Bottom line for me, economic impact in the city is going to be wild. So, as a former bellman, don't spend all that money at once. Enjoy it, savor it.
Bottom line for me, I think this is going to be great for New York. I think it's going to bring the city together, and I think it's going to be very, very economically positive for a huge range of businesses in New York, and I think that's great.
Now, we've talked some in the past, maybe a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago.
Hmm.
We did some kind of sneaker conversation about signature shoes and who
Right.
has them and who doesn't. And I was thinking about ranking my all-time favorite sneakers the other day. And it wouldn't be basketball shoes, but just my sneaker love. I may put that out there on Twitter in the next few days.
Hmm.
But dude, I was just scrolling the other day,
Well, hold on a second. Would my New Balance 1080s
bro.
version
You and your
14
wide
pop
feet
up?
would not even make the top 500.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
remember, but I remember when we were at Ohio State, you bought a pair of Adidas red high tops that you used to wear all the time. Do you remember those?
okay, here's the deal. They were Reeboks, not Adidas.
Oh, I thought they were. They were no.
Yeah,
Were they Reebok? Oh, maybe at that
yeah,
time. Yeah,
they
they
were
probably were
Reeboks.
Reebok. Yeah, sorry.
But
Yeah.
I am so impressed,
Uh-huh.
so duly impressed that you remember that because I did wear them all the time,
Right.
uh, all the time, and
Right.
they were great. And but what happened is I used to be a very, very heavy guy, and I started working out with a guy named Chris with a K. And Chris, he was a cool dude. As a matter of fact, that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I still talk to Chris not all the time, but I talk to him frequently now. And Chris used to say, "Come on, Taylor, look good, work out good." And so he said, "You got to get some shoes, man." And so I went to the mall, to the outlet mall one day, and I bought 3 pair of Nikes, different colors and stuff. And I started rotating them in, and he just went bananas. And that started something inside of me about look good, feel good, work out good. And then
Yeah.
if you don't work out good, at least you
Right.
look good and you felt good.
Uh-huh.
And so at my apex, I needed an intervention, bro. At my apex, I probably had about 115 pair.
Oh my
And
gosh. Yeah.
but I used to wear them all the time. Like there wasn't like they were just sitting there idle. I mean, I
Right.
was I was rotating them in and out, and then they were fairly fashionable. And then my son, sadly, he and I had the same shoe size, starting in
Oh,
about
right.
the
Yeah.
ninth grade, eighth grade. And so I'm sure people thought he was rich because he was wearing a different pair of shoes every day.
Hmm.
And so that's where my love for tennis shoes started. I still got a lot, but I got most of them in storage now. I backed off. I only have about 8 pair around the house, and you're probably like 8. God, that's a big number.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I never bought any. I never was into that.
See,
But my
but when you have
my
a lot
my.
of shoes, you
Yeah.
can wear the gold ones.
I see. I see. Here, hold on. Hold on. Mine are
No,
right here.
I don't want to see those New
Yeah,
Balance.
here, ready? You want to see some? These are mine. Can you see them? My New Balance 1080s. Yeah. Um, but
Those are a shoe for every 80-year-old man.
yeah, I was gonna say that's like you're right, exactly. Like nobody in my age group or demographic, nobody wears those shoes. I'm not targeted at all. But yeah, but I have to wear I have a strange size foot, so that's New Balance is one of the only brands that I can wear. But in any case, my son used to buy and sell shoes all the time, so he used to know everything about it. I just don't know anything about it.
No, so I mean, yeah, I
So anyway,
mean,
we were talking about the reason we brought it up is that Steph Curry he broke with Under Armour a while ago, and he signed a deal with Chinese sports apparel shoe company called Li Ning. And
12 years, 1.19 billion would it be, and it includes, and he's, Steph Curry's really smart, man,
mhm,
because he's like, my NBA career is just about over,
yeah,
but what he loves to do is play golf.
yeah,
And so he's got included in this is a golf line. And it's just, he's, I mean, he's done the damn thing, man.
So now, do you know who Li Ning is?
No, Panda Bear?
No, Jesus, Li Ning is. This is what I thought, but I wasn't sure, so I just looked it up. He was a Chinese gymnast.
Really?
He won 6 medals, 3 golds in the Olympics in 1984, and started a sportswear brand a few years after that.
Wow.
So
So this
yeah,
is an individual. This is like Phil Knight of China.
yeah. Well, no, this is like the equivalent of a Jordan brand. This is like a leaning brand. And
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I just remember because I lived in Asia for a big chunk of the 90s, and I just remember lots and lots of leaning shoes and apparel and everything across the region, and and I also looked up that I didn't know this, but I looked this up earlier today. Shaq signed with Li Ning in 2006. So 20 years ago, Shaq signed with Li Ning. He
Hey,
broke,
man.
he broke from one of the big guys, signed with Li Ning to sell shoes in Asia, and then ended up having his own like affordable shoe brand in the United States that he sold mostly at Walmart.
And he killed it on that. One day we'll have to devote a show to Shaq and his business and how he did it right. And there's so many stories about athletes who did it wrong
Yeah.
that Shaq, Junior Bridgman, uh,
Dave Bing,
Dave Bing, who's my guy, Jamal Mashburn.
Jamal
There's
Mashburn, yeah.
there's a few guys, Steph Curry now, Magic Johnson. There's a few guys, man,
LeBron, yeah.
who figured out the
Yeah.
deal and were
Yeah.
like, nah, man, let me show you what I'm gonna do with these M's you're about to give me.
Hmm.
And and they're like, when guys come into the league, once you're in the league and you're in the fraternity, man, instead of listening to your homeboys or your friends talk about, hey, Jerry, go get your parents matching Benzes, man. Man, you should be sitting at, whoever you think is the baddest businessman in bad man good
Hmm.
out there in your business and be like, hey, Mr. O'Neal, I just got signed by the Cowboys. Can I get a word with you next time you're in town?
Right, of course. Yeah,
And
of
99% of the time, because you reach out to them like that, they'll sit down with you
course.
and tell you, here's what to do with your money, and then you just need to listen to them.
Yeah.
Dion has done great with his money. I mean, because again, we've heard a zillion stories about guys who blow it,
Hmm.
but some of these guys are just phenomenal with their money and their wealth, and they understand how to make it work for them.
For sure. For sure. Like,
Keyshawn Johnson was like that. You know what Keyshawn's thing was?
no.
Because we used to talk about it in the locker room. Keyshawn's thing was, you can bring me anything. Bring me any business opportunity you want, Jeremy. You can use my name. I'm not putting any money in it.
Hmm. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, so he ended up getting paid because, yeah, you can use my name to do whatever you do, but I don't have any equity, any financial investment, except for if it makes good, then you got to pay me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that way you protect your assets and you don't get caught up in it. And because I used to ask him, I said, well, what if they get sued? And he had something in it so that it was clear that
Yeah, yeah. He was indemnified against any legal action,
yeah,
everything, right?
all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. You look at somebody like Rob Gronkowski, he apparently never spent a dime of his salary. He saved everything. And then any sort
Yeah,
of external
you know,
business dealings that he had, he lived on that. And so he was, and the same with I think Kawhi Leonard also. They
um,
don't spend money. They are
Marshawn Lynch
actively.
did that. You know who else
Marshawn Lynch.
did
I didn't
that?
know Marshawn Lynch did that too. Yeah.
Emmett Smith did that.
Oh, I didn't know Emmett Smith did that either. That's amazing.
No,
That's amazing.
and they did it. Emmett did it, and I know this for a fact is um, he was making so much marketing money. He was like, I'm not going to spend any of my NFL salary.
Hmm.
And I use my marketing money for everything, to live, to
Hmm.
just marketing money. And
Hmm.
so his NFL salary stacked up, and I'm sure
That's
he's
great.
worth.
That's great. So, but back to the Curry deal. What do you make of it? I mean, you're right. He's got golf as part of it. He's 39. Do you think this was just
What it does is, man, is these guys, and I think they get as competitive about business once they're in it at a certain level, as they are about sports, because it's another way to compete, and it never has to end. You can compete in business for as long as you want to. And I think, man, he's a guy who's always been revolutionary in terms of, you look at the way he played basketball. He kind of changed the game.
Mhm.
He changed the way the NBA is
Transformed the
played.
game? Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I think he's looking for ways to transform business, because it's been easy for him to stay at Nike. I mean, at Under Armour. Been easy for him to sign with Nike for a bunch of money, or
Hmm.
Adidas or Reebok.
Hmm.
He just like, well, how can I expand my thing? Oh, I can go global. Because what? The NBA, all of that's a global game now. I'm recognized over in Europe. I'm recognized in Asia.
Huge in China. Huge in China.
And so let me just expand my brand, expand my reach, and it's untapped over there.
Yeah.
So no, I thought it was a phenomenal deal for him.
Yeah. I
And
thought it
he's
was.
like a likable superstar. Like you've never heard anything like, oh, Steph's a some letter cuss word. Steph did me wrong. He's like a likable guy. I mean, I mean, he appears to be a great dude.
Mhm. I thought the fact that he signed with a Chinese company and not an American company, I thought that he would get a lot of backlash on that. None, zero. And I think
Because he's Steph Curry.
I was going to say because exactly what you just said, because he's Steph Curry. He's not getting that.
He's a
And
likable guy, and I think part of his likability is he's 6'3", 200 pounds. There's a lot of people out there who be like, I can relate to
oh,
Steph. I can
yeah,
be Steph.
yeah,
You can't be Wemby. You
yeah,
can't be Shaq. You can't be
yeah,
LeBron. You can
yeah.
be Steph Curry.
Uh-huh.
And so I think because he's got what appears to be a great disposition, and the fact that he's the everyman athlete, it all fun. And he was a winner and a champion. I think it just all worked together. And when you look at his early career, you see that he worked his way to where he got. So you can see the hard work he put in. Whenever they show you those pictures of him at Davidson when he's a freshman, and you're like,
Oh, he was so skinny. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
dude, there is no way possible
Hmm.
you can be weighing 155 pounds and end up playing in the NBA.
Right,
And so you can see all that maturity and
right.
all that growth and all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And you even forget that his dad was an NBA player. So it ain't like he grew up broke
But
or grew up.
and his dad was a very good NBA player, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, yeah,
So he's a child of privilege,
yeah.
but because he worked hard, you don't view him that way. And all of those things make him a very likable person. He's been married, he's got 3 or 4 kids. I mean, dude, if you were writing a story about how to make it all fit and how to do it,
Hmm.
he'd be one of the characters you write about in terms of
Yeah,
here's how you do it from start to finish.
100%. I wonder if what kind of distribution the leaning shoes, the Steph Curry leaning shoes are going to get in the United States. I wonder what kind of sales volume they're expecting here. Uh, that will be really, really important because Under Armour kind of tailed off as a company in kind of a popular company and
Right.
a brand that people talked about. And Curry, kind of went with that. So I wonder if this is going to rejuvenate the Curry shoe brand. I wonder if it's going to rejuvenate, not rejuvenate. I wonder if it's going to, have Li-Ning penetrate a little bit more here because, Dwayne Wade also signed with Li-Ning, I want to say a long time ago, probably 2012, 2013.
Right.
So there have been athletes who've signed with them, but it hasn't really permeated the marketplace here in any meaningful way. And that may not matter. It may only matter overseas. That may be enough for the brand. But I
And I
think
think
I think it'll permeate the U.S. market a lot more than other players who've signed with Li-Ning
um,
have in the past.
I think now this is a very basic point. I think it's just a matter of what they look like. Like, is it a good looking shoe?
Do you think even if it's got a Li-Ning brand on it?
I don't care. I think if people think it's a good looking shoe, it's aesthetically pleasing. It's got some bright colors, but it's an aesthetically pleasing shoe. I don't think they'll care what the logo look like. I don't even know what the Li Ning logo is.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, we should look at that. I don't even know
Yeah.
what it is. But
It's
it doesn't matter if you think the gear is cool or it makes you look good or it's a
yeah.
cool, because in today's world it's all about color scheme and look.
Yeah.
And I'm using myself as an example. The shoes that I like are the ones that are aesthetically pleasing to me. Once they're aesthetically pleasing, I'll figure out if they fit right and all this other stuff. But if
So
they're
you're
not
not you're not
aesthetically
you're not
pleasing,
sort of loyal to a brand. You're loyal to a look.
I'm pretty loyal to Nike because Nike, one, to me looks good, and two, I've worn them for so long, I don't have to try them on. I need 10
Right.
and a
Right.
half, I can go. I don't have to worry about is it too narrow, is it too this, too that. And Nike, to my knowledge, was one of the first shoes, even way back when, 10, 15 years ago, let you customize and make your own. Now it took a little bit longer for them to come, but now they can come in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
But before it used to take about 6 weeks, but I always like to make them because I always liked a little more color than you could buy in the store.
So let me tell you a story about customizing shoes because I have like
Yeah.
really strange feet. Not strange. I mean, they're fine, but they're
No,
just
that's strange.
they're big and they're wide, and I have a high end. Anyway, whatever. So they're very difficult for me to find shoes that fit, and that doesn't really matter. So when we lived in London, we lived not too far from Harrods, which is the big department store there. And Adidas came to Harrods one day, one weekend or for a week, and said, "We'll customize any shoe for anybody. That's what
Wow.
we'll do. We'll customize." And I was like, "Fantastic! I'm going to go and I'm going to customize a shoe." They took one look at my foot and said, "We can't do it for your foot." And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And I don't have a deformed foot. It's nothing. It's just a very unusual, just a very unusual shit. It's got all the attributes that don't work for traditional shoe making. But I think you're right. I think the customization was a really critical turning point in the shoe industry for sure. And I think that really like ushered in actually the brands taking the cue from their consumers in terms of
Yeah, because
how they put out their new models and everything.
they used to give you, basically black and white, red and white. I mean, it's not a lot of options.
Yeah.
And I was a guy who always wanted options. So Nike allowed you to do that. And so I became pretty brand loyal
Mhm.
to them.
The only Currys that I remember is my daughter played a lot of basketball, and she and her teammates for one season wanted the Curry birthday cake shoes. I don't know if you remember those at all. The Curry
No, like
birthday cake. Yeah.
I don't remember any Steph Curry shoes. Like I loved the Kobe, I think it was the Kobe nines or something. But and I like the Jordan 11s. Those are the only Jordans I really liked.
Hmm.
But I don't even remember Steph Curry shoes.
Yeah, both of my kids wore Curry shoes when because they were playing basketball at sort of the height of Steph Curry, and my daughter wore and her teammates wore the Steph Curry. I think they were called birthday
Oh,
cake shoes.
with
Yeah,
the funky multicolored soles.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are pretty cool. So those it was funny to see her and her
Yeah.
teammates all wear the same color, the same
Now
shoes.
those are nice.
I
I
liked
like
it.
those soles.
I
My
liked it.
son, when he was playing, he was all in the Kevin Durant. So he was into the
Hmm.
KD line. Uh, I like the KD line, but I didn't like him enough to buy him. And I only like one line of Kobe's enough to buy him. But here's what I do: if I like a shoe, like Kobe, whatever those came out in that
Yeah.
style, I bought like all three pairs, all three colors that he had because the style was so nice.
Right. Right. Yeah. Anyway, what's the bottom line for you on Curry and Li Ning?
Bottom line for Curry and Lee Ning is the man's a marketing genius, and he's going to stack money after money after money. Because when this deal is up, he'll get another one because he'll only be 50.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say something very similar. The bottom line for me is if you're a 39-year-old NBA player who's been in the league for 17 years, I think that's roughly what Curry has been in, and you're signing a shoe deal of this size at that age, at probably in the last year or two of your career, you're a smart guy.
Yeah. And that moves to our favorite topic of the week, every week, Ohio State. I was a little surprised by this. Chris Carter is not in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so we saw the story broke this week that two Ohio State players have been nominated for the College Football Hall of Fame, AJ Hawk and Chris Carter. I
Well,
was surprised also.
I was shocked Chris Carter is not in the College Football Hall of Fame. Chris Carter was the star receiver the year I covered the Buckeyes, 1987, I think. And then he got suspended early. Now, we didn't talk a lot, but he was a star.
Hmm.
Chris Spielman was on that team, too. But, he was a phenomenal receiver in college. He was a phenomenal receiver in the NFL. His only problem was drugs and partying. Once he gave
Yeah.
that up, he became the superstar that he was. And that's why I was just shocked that he wasn't in already because he was dominant at Ohio State.
Yeah. Do you think, in terms of Ohio State receivers, which have been a ton of good ones in the last, 10, 15 years, where do you think Chris Carter ranks in terms of all-time great Ohio State receivers?
Man, that's a hard thing to do because I'm not gonna lie to you. You have so much recency bias.
Hmm.
Um, He's definitely top five. Like when I say recency bias, most people are thinking, you know, JSN and Allen Wilson and Marvin
Garrett
Harrison
Wilson.
Jr.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, Garrett Wilson and all that crew. I'm really thinking like Terry Glenn and Joey Galloway. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And David Boston was unstoppable when they had him. And so
Terry McLaurin.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you talk about Ohio State receivers, you know, Chris and I can't remember any of the stats because it's been so long. But I would say he's definitely top five, probably top three.
Who do you
And then
think? Who do you
if
think are the top three? Because I agree with you that Carter's certainly in the top five, maybe the top three.
like I think Joey Galloway is in there.
Hmm.
I'd say Joey Galloway and Chris Carter, and then whichever one of the young guns you want to throw in there from the, like JSN can't be in there because they only had one season.
Hmm.
Uh, I think the Marvin Harrison have two seasons or one season.
He had 2 seasons. Yeah. I think Jeremiah Smith is in the top. I think if he has another season like this, I
Well,
think
see, I need him to have one more
yeah, I
season.
think if he has one more season, I think he's number one. I think certainly think he's in the top five right now. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you. I think Joey Galloway, Chris Carter, although Marvin Harrison had if Marvin Harrison wasn't hurt in the Georgia game, Ohio State would have
yes,
won the national title.
I believe that because they
Yeah,
couldn't stop him. That's why they knocked him out.
yeah, yeah. And so I think Marvin Harrison Jr. was probably. I mean, I guess that's recency bias. He's probably up there. Probably
No, he was a great college receiver.
he's a
He hadn't busted great as a pro, but as a college receiver, he was phenomenal. And then who was running with Chris Olave? Was that Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson. Yeah, Chris Olave was a great receiver too.
Chris Olave came out of nowhere. He blocked them two punts and then he turned into a receiver.
He was a great hands, Chris Olave. Yeah, there's a lot of Ohio State receivers who are really good, but I'm with you that I couldn't believe Chris Carter isn't in the College Football Hall of Fame.
All right, see, what we need to do now is just be like next week's topic will be let's do a deep dive on the receivers. Then we can actually know what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
have a real conversation because it's a hard because you start to think about it now.
Because I'm guarantee you there's some people we forgot.
Of course, but JSN's final college game against Utah, where he had whatever it
15
was,
for 350 or
it was
whatever.
something crazy. Granted it was against Utah,
It doesn't
but
matter.
but that was one of the best games I've ever seen any receiver ever have.
But I'm telling you, the weirdest thing about that is you're absolutely right. Okay, there's no dispute. I'm telling you, I've seen a bunch of Texas high school football, and he did the exact same thing in high school. He was playing the
Oh, I didn't
team
know that. Yeah.
that Kyler Allen went to, Allen High School, which had a graduating class of 1,700 last week. They've got 7,000 students. They refused to build another school so they'd be a football power. And he was playing for another school, and his school always had good offense, no defense. They're the kind of team that would lose a couple games during the season 51-48.
Right.
But they're playing Allen, which is a traditional power. And so I literally went to that game because I've been hearing about this kid all year. He's going to Ohio State. They're playing Allen. Let me see what he can do against the big boys. This is no exaggeration. He had like six for like 200 yards and 5 touchdowns in the first half.
Now, when you saw him play, because sometimes well, I guess he's playing against Allen, so it's
Yeah.
different. But when you saw him play, did you know immediately that this was NFL talent or not?
No, but I knew he'd be good at Ohio State
Right.
because he wasn't like sometimes guy has 6 for 250. He's bigger, faster, sronger, and
Right.
he's
That's
just
what I
running
mean.
away
Yeah.
from people and then wide
Yeah.
open. No,
Yeah.
man, he made some one-handed catch and toe tapped in the back of the end zone,
Hmm.
and then he ran some razzle dazzle route. It was incredible. I was like, dude, I can't believe this guy's doing 5 touchdowns in the first half. And this was a playoff game, so this wasn't like a regular. This was a playoff game, and they still barely won because
Yeah.
they didn't play no defense.
Now, did you see? This is a little off topic on Ohio State, but it's USC, and I have a kid at USC right now. You see that Drake London signed
Well,
three
yeah, that's
years?
big news in Dallas because George Pickens, the Cowboys receiver, is unsigned. And
Oh, right.
he signed a franchise tag, but he's going to want a new contract next year. and he's much better statistically than Drake London. So if Drake London's new money is 4 years and 140, which is about 35 and a half million dollars a year in
100
new
million
money,
guaranteed. That's
yeah,
amazing.
then
Yeah.
George Pickens is going to he's going to want that's like his. Can we start talking there? Because his numbers are better than Drake London in every category.
If you were starting a team today, would you want to have Drake? If you had to choose between Drake London and George Pickens, who would you choose?
Oh, I take George Pickens.
I take Drake London every single time. Yeah.
Nah, I take George Pickens. George Pickens, man, he's phenomenal talent.
He is a talent, absolutely. But what do you think about AJ Hawk? I mean, you mentioned it's funny. You mentioned Chris Spielman, who I thought was probably the best linebacker at Ohio State, but AJ Hawk.
I thought AJ Hawk's a really good player. I don't have any memories of AJ Hawk.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Whereas
Like he doesn't
Spielman,
have a single. He doesn't have a like. I could tell you about Chris Spielman hitting Harvey Williams out of bounds and
right?
trying to kill him against LSU at Death Valley. I could even probably come up with some Andy Katzenmoyer plays. I don't have a
Andy
signature.
Katzenmoyer.
I
Wow.
don't have a
Yeah.
signature.
Randy Gradishar? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't have a Jim Stillwagon. I don't have a signature
Much
AJ
better. Yeah,
Hawk
much
play. I
better.
know he was an outstanding player. Was he a first round pick?
Oh, I'm sure he was. Yeah, yeah.
I
We
mean,
should
but
probably
Bobby
look.
Carpenter was a first round pick.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I remember Chris Spielman. You know who I remember? The two linebackers that stuck out to me, college linebackers. In not that anybody may remember, they might remember Chris Spielman was Chris Spielman and Brian Bosworth. You know,
Right.
they both kind of they were both around the same time. They both were kind of larger than life linebackers, and Bosworth, unfortunately, had looks like I think he was had some performance enhancing drug issues, but Spielman was a remarkable talent.
Okay, we should both be ashamed of ourselves.
Who have I forgotten?
AJ Hawk. Now, one, I should be ashamed because his birthday is the day after mine, so we're somewhat kindred souls.
Okay,
AJ Hawk, drafted in 2006, first round, fifth overall.
I don't remember that. I just don't remember that. Yeah.
So he was a baller. Like we should be ashamed that we don't remember AJ Hawk. Um, okay, you know why we don't remember AJ Hawk? I mean, I can tell you why I don't remember AJ Hawk. That draft. Oh, I mentioned Bobby Carpenter. They were in the same draft.
Hmm.
I don't remember that draft because that draft, AJ Hawk got lost. And he got lost because the draft was all about do you want Mario Williams, Reggie Bush, or Vince Young?
Oh, that's what that was that
And
year.
so nobody else
Yeah.
existed in that draft.
Yeah, that's right. That's
You want the
right.
big defensive end, you want the electric running back, or you want the unstoppable quarterback.
Hmm.
That was the conversation. And you can make a case for any of them. And that so if you weren't one of those three, nobody remembers you got drafted.
Hmm. I had some gaps in my Ohio State knowledge over that time because this was kind of as the internet was emerging, but it wasn't really there, and I was living overseas, so
Right?
I have, and AJ Hawk is in the gap of time where it was just I kind of didn't really see him that much because
No,
I
no.
couldn't. Yeah.
So
So
no.
that's my only excuse. Yeah.
Bottom line for me, I can't believe Chris Carter's not in the College Football Hall of Fame. And hey, AJ Hawk to be the fifth pick in the draft, he must have been pretty damn good. He should get in too.
Bottom line for me, Chris Carter will certainly get into the College Football Hall of Fame next year, and uh, I wonder how many receivers from Ohio State are over the last from the 21st century. How many for the first 25 years of the 21st century? How many Ohio State receivers are going to get in? I don't know.
See, we
Could
didn't
be.
even talk about
Could,
Mike Thompson. He was in there.
yeah,
So yeah, we'll talk about the receivers next week. Write that down.
yeah. Let's do that.
Before we get out of here, we want you to please subscribe, rate, review. We use all the help we can get. He's Jeremy Pink. I'm Jean-Jacques Taylor. Go Knicks, I think.
Yeah, go next. We will see you all next week.